travelers. How are you doing today? It's my intention to begin an entire series on my 10 trips to Thailand. And what I'd like to do is start with a two-part installment, which is 14 tips for proper etiquette when visiting a Buddhist temple. And then follow that up with visiting a Buddhist temple in Florida, in Kenneth City. And so I by no means am an expert, but I have visited Thailand 10 times. I do have a picture, a portrait of Buddha behind me, and if that doesn't give me legitimacy, then I don't know what does. So the first rule to remember when visiting a Buddhist temple, or a Wat as they are commonly known, is that remember that this is a house of worship and that you should act accordingly. Now, if you visit Thailand and you go to a city such as Pattaya that is very tourist heavy, then you're going to see a lot of people visiting these temples, and it's hard to discern whether or not it's a house of worship or whether it's a tourist attraction. And the reality is they're a little bit of both. But after this video, when you go to visit a Wat, you will see that there are a lot of tourists that are really not following proper etiquette. So whatever you would probably do in a house of worship in your home country, it would be a good idea that's a good guideline for how you would want to behave in a house of worship in Southeast Asia. The second thing I want you to remember is foreigners are welcome. Foreigners are always welcome in Buddhist Wats. Also, I want you to remember this: dress accordingly. Today, in part 2 of this installment, we'll be going to a Laotian Buddhist temple in Kenneth City. I'm going to be wearing this shirt. It's collared. It's long sleeve. It doesn't need to be long sleeve. Short sleeve is okay, but long sleeve is better. I've got long blue jeans on, and I've got closed-toed shoes because this is the United States. If I was in Southeast Asia, closed-toed shoes wouldn't be a must. If you're a female, then you want your shoulders to be covered. You want your legs to be covered. You don't want to wear a halter top. And when you go overseas, the high tourist trafficked temples will usually have someone outside either selling or renting sarongs for you to wear. I want you to remember to always pay a little extra respect to the monks. Think of them as if you were paying respect to the Pope. In their temple, they are at the hierarchy, the higher end of the hierarchy on the respect meter. And you cannot go wrong by showing them the proper reverence that they do deserve. If you're wearing a hat, remember to remove your hat at appropriate times. I have a hat. I'll probably be wearing a hat to the temple today, but I'll just leave it in the car. That way it's just easier. This is very important. Do not touch, climb, or joke around with the Buddha statues. That is tantamount to swinging from a crucifix. Except in Southeast Asia, the punishment that comes with standing on, walking, or swinging on, or even joking with the Buddhas can be much more severe than you will get in the Western world. This should be obvious, but I'll say it anyway. Don't wear headphones. Wearing headphones, I would even go a step further and say, you know, if you really don't need your sunglasses, don't put them on. Put them in your pocket just for the time that you're actually in the Wat itself, which, of course, you should lower your voice. Remember to lower your voice. It is a place, it's a sacred place of worship. Again, showing the appropriate reverence is always good. Be prepared to take off your footwear. While you're on the temple grounds, you can walk in your shoes, But once you enter the Wat, before you enter the Wat, you will be taking off your footwear. On the grounds overseas, the temples and the Wats very often have a donation box. You don't have to give much, but they really do appreciate it if you give something. And the reason why is they have a different way of collecting money than, for example, we do in the Western world. And so their way literally is through donations. I don't know for a fact, but I don't believe they get a stipend. They're a community-based religion, and so they get their money from the community. Here's some higher level stuff that if you get it wrong, no one's going to say anything, but it's one of those things that if you get it right, it really is a little bit of extra credit with the indigenous people. And that's really what we're trying to do, isn't it? You know, when we're visiting other countries, we want to show an empathy and an understanding for their culture. So, after you take off your shoes and you're ready to enter the Wat, enter with your left foot. When you exit the Wat, exit with your right foot first. And the reason being is, in that religion, it shows a completeness. Enter with your left, exit with your right. In between entering and exiting, you are going to come to a Buddha. When you come to a Buddha and you get ready to walk away from the Buddha, take a prominent step backwards while facing the Buddha and then walk away. That shows an extreme amount of reverence that while folks in Southeast Asia may not say anything, they will certainly appreciate it. And the 14th and last, but not the least of my tips is remember the Wa. And you know what the Wa is. The Wa is this. Fingers touching, palms closed. Now, there are 3 levels of respect, or I would generally say 3 levels of respect when presenting with the Wa. In Thailand, if you come upon a colleague, you hold it at about your chin, and you say Sawadi. Sawadi means hello. If you meet an older person that you want to show respect to, then you would hold it at about eyebrow level and say Sawadi. When greeting or saying goodbye to a monk, you would hold it at hairline. For me, it's a little bit further back, but a normal hairline level, and then you would say Sawadi, and you would even bow. So you can bow with all 3 levels. So it's Sawadi friend, Sawadi elder, Sawadi extreme religious person, or person of notoriety. And whenever you do that, you can even say hello. You can say good day. They will see that and they will really appreciate it. So with that, let's stop here. And now let's go. It's about 10 miles from the house. We're going to go visit a Buddhist temple and go get us some pho noodles. And then I'll talk a little bit about the temples in the United States and around the world, okay? Ding! Welcome to another based on, I don't know what it's based on, with the right. Almost there, almost there. Framing, I'm doing nothing but framing.